you worry anymore.
It's no accident that California, home to the world's most industrialized agriculture, also gives rise to its opposite, organic agriculture. The 60s counterculture heads back to the land and turns away from chemical farming, giving birth to an organic movement. Few have any farming experience, and at first their produce is poor quality. But they experiment and learn, and in time, some become very good farmers. By the end of the 70s, the first wave consists of 20 to 40 organic farms from Sonoma to Santa Cruz.
Today there is no obedience and reverence of nature whatever in anybody. They couldn't care less about the law of God.
A more metaphysical aspect emerges when Alan Chadwick, eccentric master gardener, appears at UC Santa Cruz just as students are starting a garden. He teaches a generation Rudolf Steiner's biodynamic philosophy. Stephen Decatur becomes a student and turns to finding truth in nature.
Seeing the farm as a whole organism and a living being, that's one whole fundamental area of biodynamic agriculture. Recognizing the cosmic environment and its influence is another area. And a third is Steiner's suggestions for special materials that humans, and only humans, would have the consciousness to put together.
The third strand is homegrown, sons and daughters of farmers who witness modern chemical farming. Stephen Pavich's epiphany comes when he climbs in a pesticide tank to fix the sprayer and is overcome by fumes.
I'm praying to God. I'm saying, look, I don't know what you have for me. I'm just a podunk farm kid from Delano, California on a small farm. I'm a nobody, but can you please help me out? So, the next day, reading the country life section of the Fresno Bee about how you need to treat the soil with respect and you need to somehow raise the organic matter of your soil and let the microbes do the work. And it was like, thank you, God.
Ripple in still water.
The organic movement is not just farmers. It's alternative systems of distribution and consumption. It's also a critique of conventional farming. Izzy Martin gets the politics from the start. Running an advocacy group, she fights pesticides and organizes.
We began to realize that there was great synergy between working with the pesticide poison victims and working with these organic farmers. These guys went off to Vietnam, they got sprayed. And they came back to California and said, we're not using that stuff. We're not trying to insult your dad or grandpa, but we're not using that stuff. We already know what it does to people.
Brian Leahy, an organic farmer who now heads California's Department of Pesticide Regulation, learned from his father-in-law, a World War II veteran, who'd had enough killing and developed wildlife-friendly agriculture.
There's more life in the soil than above it, and we start to take care of that life and figure out how it can enhance our production. We're going to start feeding the soil instead of destroying it. And right now the ultimate destruction, of course, is the fumigants, when they're about killing the soil life, but also fertilizers, and so I think if we really want to change, our whole approach to the use of pesticides and fumigants, then it's going to start with the soil.
Co-ops and conspiracies are the first outlets for organic food. Veritable Vegetable starts as a collective doing produce for the people's food system. Their byline is food for people, not for profit.
I think a lot of people came to it sort of from the conspiracies and then figured out, oh, and healthy, that's what this means. And then very quickly we started to understand some of the really fundamental politics of food.
Restaurants like Chez Panisse are passionate supporters of organic. One fateful day, Sabella Kraus calls on Warren Weber, asking for lettuce.
She said, can we cut that? I said, no, we can't cut that. I said, we're not going to cut that. I said, those heads are going to get big, and how else we're going to sell them? We're not going to cut that. So she said, no, let's cut. I'll show you what I mean. So I remember taking my lettuce knife out and leaning over and starting to, grabbing and starting to cut it. And then looking over my shoulder thinking, I hope no one see me do this. This is like some sacrilege or something.
Come hear Uncle John's band playing to the tide.
Two chemical scares, especially Alar in 1988, caused a huge jump in demand for safe and healthy organic food. Acreage quadruples in 2 years, and revenue grows an average of 20% a year for more than 2 decades. At the same time, the Full Belly Farm converts to community-supported agriculture.
We sort of rode this wave, incredible wave, and I don't know if you could ever repeat it, ever. That wave of people getting excited and fearful at the same time. They were afraid of what was going in their food, and people started thinking about local and organic all at the same time that our farm was starting and growing.
In 1990, state and federal organic laws pass. Conventional farmers convert to organic agriculture, and it becomes an industry. This second wave is embodied by Dick Peugeot. His aha moment comes while doing tractor work for an organic farmer.
Well, he said, I want to work all the stuff we've done harvesting, but not the other side. And I looked at the weed patch and I said, well, which is which? So he reached down, pulled up a beet and says, well, there's a beet row here, so this must be where the crop starts. I kind of scratched my head at that point and I said, I can't believe the guy can actually make a living. And then on my way back home, I called my brother who grew beets, and my brother said he was selling beets for $7 a box. And when I was up there, I asked Bruce how much he was selling beets for. He said he sold them for $28 a box. So then I kind of started thinking, got the wheels turning as far as, that maybe the organic deal is a real business.
Tonya Antle, then sister-in-law to Steve Pavich, sells organic to supermarkets. Pavich Farms is the first to take organic to commercial scale. Then Tonya goes to work for Earthbound Farms. They become the biggest organic grower in the world, and Tonya realizes her ambition to bring organic to all people.
We had goals. Our goal was to make organic accessible and available to consumers across the country. Check. To make organics, viable for a customer in Iowa and Florida and, reasonably priced, because we always thought, everybody assumed in the early days that organic was for either the far left organic, granola co-op kind of consumer, or for the elite. And it was my personal goal to make organic for everyone. And we're in Walmart and we're in Whole Foods. Check.
Looking to the future, everybody says it comes back to the soil. Now, soil microbiology is the frontier. Next, there are the greenhorns, young organic farmers pursuing inner-city gardens, prison projects, or liberating land from the University of California. But the biggest news may be organic as a solution to climate change. Plants take in carbon dioxide and sequester it in the soil. We shall see if soil will save us.